we were expressing about thermodynamics, including the various contents of thermodynamics. We have explained so many contents. We have derived important terminology, methodology, and essential derivation of thermodynamics of BSc Part 2 in Unit 1. In the series of various contents, including system, surrounding, boundary, properties of the system, extensive property, intensive properties. In the series of various topics of BSc Part 2 of thermodynamics as Unit 1, we have also expressed about state functions, path functions, and interconversion of state function into path function and path function into state functions. We have also defined about the important physical quantities of regarding to state function, and that is of path functions. We were defining about thermodynamic process which denote the number of walls, root which undergo in a cyclic process at earlier to start of the system to complete to form a circle. Its initial state variables like such as temperature, pressure, volume to change, but after performing of the system, after performing of a circle, state variable such as temperature, pressure, volume remains the constants is known as thermodynamic process. In the series of the various classification and kinds of thermodynamic process, we have also defined isobaric process is the process in which pressure remains the constant. Isochoric is the process which occurs as constant volume. Isothermal process is the process which occurs as constant temperature. Adiabatic process is the process in which heat neither given nor that is of taken. Cyclic process is the process when system is undergoing, system is performing in so many path 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., etc. If its initial and final conditions steps become identical, such process is known as cyclic process. In the series of sixth one, thermodynamic process has now further divided into subgroups. Sixth, a reversible process and irreversible process. Once again, I would like to define to you, to repeat once again, in respect of reversible process is the process in which the property of system and surrounding is that is of very, very small here, infinitesimally present here. In the case of 6th B here, in order to express about that is of 6th B irreversible process. Irreversible process is also known as that is of a spontaneous process here. To explain, to define spontaneous or irreversible process here, I am drawing a normal diagram which acts as systems as our human body. Its normal temperature one can express as 37 degrees Celsius of temperature. This duster I assume here as human body to act as a system. Its normal temperature of 37 degrees Celsius of temperature here. Due to weather condition, due to naturally condition, the temperature jumps from 37 to 45 degrees Celsius of temperature here. State variable suddenly jump by a large gap, by a large difference here, 45 degrees Celsius. In this condition, since the changing of state variables regarding temperature is very, very higher, 37 to that is of 45 degrees Celsius of temperature, system will be unhealthy, and Due to thermodynamically point of view, the work is destroyed and work will be denoted here as that is of W is equals to W minimum here. Now on the behalf of the following diagram, I have mentioned here the following postulates, important features of irreversible process comes out here. That is of here we would like to define to you, that is of this process occurs suddenly, work is destroyed, and it will be symbolized by W is equals to W minimum here. Thus, process in which the property between system and surrounding here is very, very large here. Next one postulate or property features here. Now, to achieve back here 45 to achieve its original condition 37 degrees Celsius, external heavy force of pressure or attraction, heavy force will be applied to achieve its original condition here. Suppose we assume here we apply this example on our human body. Suppose we consider our temperature that is of 37 degrees Celsius of temperature, our whole body will be considered as living species, a system here. Due to natural or weather condition, atmospheric condition, suppose the temperature of our body 37 to jump 45 degrees Celsius. In this condition, human body will be classified as unhealthy. In order to achieve its original condition, we have to use by the prescription of medical, we have to use heavy, that is of antibiotic conditions. Hence, it will be said that in order to obtain its initial condition, heavy force or pressure or force of attraction, heavy external force will be required to achieve its original condition here. Since jumping of temperature is very, very higher, in this condition, system will be treated as destruction condition and work will be recorded as W is equals to W minimum here. Next one, that is of all the process which is occurring in nature. One can categorize, one can include it, that is of natural process, all the natural process. This process is also known as, all the process occurring in nature are the well-known example of irreversible process or spontaneous process here. The example of spontaneous process here, you know that in the case of that spontaneous process, the example of spontaneous process, that is of conversion of milk into that is of curd here. Here we would like to explain here, that is of conversion of milk into curd. It is very impossible to convert back curd into milk here. Second one, the example I would like to define to you in spontaneous cases, that is a flow of heat from higher pressure region to low pressure region. The intensity at earlier state, at state 1, will be very, very higher, and after crossing a very, very higher path, the intensity of the heat becomes very low. So the flow of heat from high pressure region to low pressure region is well-known example of spontaneous process or reversible process here. Fallen of rivers from mountain to the ocean is also an example of irreversible process. I have just told to you, irreversible process is also known as spontaneous process. Fallen of rivers from mountain to the ocean here. In order to shift rivers from ocean to that is a mountain, extra heavy external force will be required here. Similarly, fallen of tears from our eyes on the earth. It is also a very specific example, amazing example, special example. Listen to me, students, once again. Fallen of tears from eye on the earth. It is the well-known example of a special, outstanding example of irreversible process. In order to shift backs of drops of tears, droplets of tears shifted again back to our eyes. External, either it is impossible process, but suppose we try to shift back the drops of tears which are present lying on the earth, to shift back, external heavy force will be applied here. Similarly, in the case of that is a fallen of that is of leaves or flowers. Suppose I assume it is that is the leaf and it is totally connected here on this plant, or suppose due to weather condition, suppose this it is totally dropped on the earth, leaves, flowers, fallen off leaves or that is of flowers on the earth. It is also example of irreversible process. It is very typical, or external force will be applied here again to bind the that is of a fallen leaves or flowers. So I mean to say, obviously it will be external heavy, and it is very typical to shift to connect to joint bag the fallen that is of leaves or flowers on again on that is of plants here. So all the natural process which are occurring in the nature are the well-known example of irreversible process here. So that thermodynamic process now completed here. And dear students, let us proceed in thermodynamics. Next topic, that is of first law of thermodynamics, or the laws of thermodynamics. In our physical chemistry, three important that's a branch of the physical chemistry, and do exist, and how many the various branch of chemistry including physical chemistry. Three important topics, very special, very important. My question to the students: how many total laws of thermodynamics? Laws of thermodynamics, laws of photochemistry, and that is of laws of thermochemistry here in compact form. Dear students, I would like to explain you about first of all the classification of the various laws. What does various laws, what does various branch of physical chemistry involve the laws here? Thermodynamic chemistry total laws. If you have been asked here how many laws of thermodynamics to involve in self its topic to the branch here. So total laws of thermodynamic chemistry, that is the 4 laws. First law, second law, third law, and 0th law. Total laws of thermodynamics, that is the 4 laws. Now listen to me once again, that is obviously, suppose my question to you, how many laws of photochemistry do exist involved here? So I think that is the photochemistry laws of that is of 2, Grotthuss-Draper law, and that is of Einstein's law of photochemical the equivalence. And how many laws of thermochemistry involving himself? So your answer should be that is of 2 laws here. Laws of thermochemistry 2a, Hess's law of constant heat summation, and that is of Kirchhoff's law. In compact form, I would like to various branch of physical chemistry to involve the important and specific law to associate of these particular contents. Thermochemistry, 2 laws, Hess's law, Kirchhoff's law. Next one, that is the total laws of photochemistry, 2 laws, Grotthuss-Draper law, Einstein's law of photochemical chemistry, and total laws of thermodynamic. Students generally respond 3 laws of thermodynamic chemistry do exist here, but I would like to suggest to you 4 thermodynamics law involving in thermodynamics. In unit 1, these that will be it will be classified into that is of 4 laws. First law, second law of TD, third law of TD, 0th law of that is of TD, and laws of photochemistry, 2 laws, Grotthuss-Draper, Einstein law, total law of thermochemistry is Hess's law of constant heat summation, and Kirchhoff's law. Now we will deliver tomorrow first law of thermodynamics, its conceptual derivation, definition, graphical representation if possible tomorrow. Thank you very much.